Take a seat, Mrs. Clifton. Now I think you know who we are, Mrs. Clifton. I don't need to go through the formal introductions, do I?
No need at all.
Oh, good. That's sorted then. Now, Mrs. Clifton, I'd like to ask you some questions about the deceased.
Oh, yes. Right, of course.
So how well did you know Adam?
He performed surgery on my husband last week and botched it.
Botched it?
Yes, deliberately.
Deliberately botched the surgery, you say?
Yes, thanks to him, my husband has had to have his mouth wide shut. He can no longer eat, drink or speak, and he's lost the use of his legs. We want compensation.
And how did dental surgery cause the loss of your husband's legs?
He fell down the stairs shortly after the surgery.
It seems to me it was your husband's fault, not Adam's.
Well,
I think that's all we need to know.
But...
Now, Mrs. Clifton...
Thank you, Mrs. Clifton.
Now, please take a seat in the waiting room and a uniformed officer will explain what happens next. We may need to talk to you again. Hey, that was bizarre.
You can say that again. She's obviously money-orientated.
Money, that's just the sort of thing that drives people to commit murder, isn't it?
And quite often, it's the ones that you least expect.
Aye. Right, as you know, I'm D.I. Forbes, this is D.C. Shakespeare. Now, Matt, can you tell us in your own words what you were doing today?
Doing doesn't fit, as they say. What I do is I'm one of the receptionists and I've worked here for 2 years. Monday to Wednesday, 8:30 to 5 p.m.
Interesting. What's wrong with Thursday and Friday?
I have another job I do.
If I'm not mistaken, today is Friday.
Thing is, I was asked to fill in for Jan, the other receptionist. She's on her jollies in Tenerife. Check up if you don't believe me. It's all legit, pre-arranged, 2 weeks full time. We fit in with one another.
Very cosy.
And what's your other job? Don't tell me. You look after animals.
Cool, the DI gets a bullseye, except I think they prefer to call them racehorses as opposed to animals. I'm a stable hand at Springdale Racing Stables, half a mile up the road.
Fascinating, 2 jobs. Thinking of taking up dentistry then, are we?
Oh, come on, Inspector.
Detective Inspector. No, I'll make a mental note. Horse connections.
Not a bloody crime, is it? Anyway, I'm not a dentist.
No. Merely passing comment. Getting back to Adam's murder then, what were you doing immediately before lunchtime?
I was down here in reception, taking care of this mob.
This mob? Is that how you see them?
See them? What are you inferring?
Patients, Matt. Is it the way you see Adam's patients? This mob?
Look, Inspector.
Detective Inspector? I want facts, you see.
Detective Inspector, they're just phrases I use. I like my work, this job, alright? I was looking after the patients here in reception from 9 o'clock onwards. Not till Mr. McCarthy called me upstairs and someone shouted out the surgery door was locked did I leave my desk.
Right. Are there witnesses to this fact?
Of course there are.
Leftover mob, by any chance?
If you say so.
We'll need names. You can give that later in a statement. For now, how long have you known Adam?
Known him about a year. I don't know exactly. Why?
You know Diane Borden very well, I believe.
Yes, she's a friend of mine, Detective Inspector. No crime in that either, is there?
Would you describe yourself as heterosexual, Matt?
No.
No, right, you can go now. Only don't leave the district. One of our uniformed officers will explain what happens next. Now, why would a young lad like Matt strike up a friendship with someone like Diane, a much older woman, and bear in mind he's gay?
Money?
Could be. Mr.
Brian Forbes. Garside.
Just your first name.
Gary.
Right. Now, this is D.C. Shakespeare. Now, Gary, as I understand it, you and Adam were in a relationship, right?
Yes.
You follow my meaning, don't you, when I say relationship?
Yeah. Me and Adam were lovers. That's all right with you?
Yes, each to his own, lad. Do you have any idea who might have killed him?
They were all against him. All of them. Which one actually did it, though? I've no idea.
Mr. Garside, I believe that you and Adam had recently quarrelled. Is that correct?
Yes, but nothing serious. Just a bit of a joke that went wrong.
Do you know Adam's mother, Diane Bowden?
Never met her before. Never met any of them except Mr. McCafferty. I wouldn't be surprised if he was involved.
You didn't like him?
He's like a wet chip. A long streak of nothing but resentment. He never liked Adam.
And where were you this morning between 10 and 12:45? That was when you arrived, wasn't it?
About then, I was in Market Street digging a hole in the road.
There were people who saw you doing this hole digging?
Come on, you can't dig a hole in the road without people seeing you. I hope you don't think I killed him, do you?
No, I don't think anything at all. I don't get all the facts, thank you, Gary. A uniformed officer will take further details. He's out on reception. Oh, by the way, what sort of joke was it?
Joke?
Between you and Adam?
He tattooed a rude word on my back. It was supposed to be a Harley-Davidson logo, but he didn't put a Harley-Davidson logo.
So what did he put?
Bitch.
I see, naughty. Oh, thanks again.
OK. That it then, is it?
Just one other thing, Mr. Garside. Do you know what this is?
Looks like an Harley-Davidson sheath knife.
Are you sure about that? I haven't taken it out of the polythene bag yet.
I've seen plenty of them.
You know what this particular one is, don't you? It's the knife that...
Killed Adam? I know.
Is that your knife, Gary?
Mine? Yeah, all right, it's mine. But I didn't kill him, though.
It might not be your knife, Gary. Take a closer look at it.
It's mine. I recognised it when we came into surgery.
And you don't know who killed him, as you say. It's not looking very good for you, Gary, is it? How would that knife get from your possession into Adam's chest if you didn't put it there?
How should I know? Last time I saw it, it was by the sink in the kitchen. I was cutting meat with it. A bit of gammon. I hadn't seen it again until we broke into Adam's surgery.
Oh, come on, Garside. If you did it, then save me a lot of trouble. Say so. Mess me about and I'll have your balls on a plate.
Boss!
Ah.
Mr. Garside, you've come here today with a grudge against Adam Bowden. Then you tell us it's your knife that's killed him. I think it would benefit your case enormously if you were honest and tell us right now if you are responsible for Adam's death. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Did you kill Adam Bowden?
No, I didn't.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Garside. That's all for now.
It wasn't me. I was digging a hole, remember?
If you could wait in reception, Mr. Garside, you are now under police surveillance and will not leave the building under any circumstance.
It weren't me!
Now, Mrs. Bowden, please sit down.
Thank you.
Where were you between the hours of approximately 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. this morning?
I was walking to the dentist's surgery to see my son.
Anyone see you?
I have no idea.
Did you walk past anyone?
Of course, there were people in the street.
So someone would have seen you?
I have no idea. And if they did, I don't suppose they would remember me.
I'm sure they would, Diane. A lady all dressed in black. They would remember that, surely.
Lots of people dress in black.
Not from head to toe. That's unusual at 10 a.m. in a small town like this. It's almost as if you knew what had happened. You look prepared for death.
How could I have known? I could never have imagined such a dreadful thing.
Then why dress in mourning?
I have dressed like this since I lost my son.
But Mrs. Bowden, you dressed like this before he was murdered.
I lost my son before he was murdered.
Oh, yeah. He was gay, wasn't he, Mrs. Bowden?
He most certainly was not. He had lost his way, that is all.
But you say you lost him.
That's what I mean. He lost his way. He was lost from God, but I was helping him to find his way back.
And exactly how were you doing that, Mrs. Bowden?
By talking to him, asking him to come to church, to return to God.
And how was that going?
Not very well. He didn't want to listen to me.
What was your relationship with Matt Hughes?
He was a friend of Adam's, and we had recently become friends.
Bit of an unlikely friendship, unless there was more to it than that.
You're disgusting. I am a woman of God, something I imagine you know little about.
Why were you friends with Matt, Diane?
He was going to talk to Adam and convince him to listen to me.
And why would he do that?
Because he is a good man. He can see the error of Adam's ways.
Really? Do you know Matt is gay, Mrs. Bowden?
He is not.
No, I'm afraid so, Mrs. Bowden.
Then why aren't you questioning him? He obviously did.
Why, obviously.
If he is that sort of man, He could do something like this. He could easily have done it without anyone noticing.
And you didn't know he was gay?
No.
So here you are, a devastated woman, shamed by her son's lifestyle, befriending a younger man. It would really help to get that embarrassing son out of the way, wouldn't it?
Have you seen this before, Mrs. Bowden? For the benefit of the tape, I'm showing Mrs. Bowden the murder weapon.
It's the knife.
The one used to stab your son.
Then why make me look at it again, you hideous person?
So you have seen it before?
When it was sticking out of my son, yes.
How about before that?
The first time I saw this thing was when it was sticking out of my son, covered in his blood. Why are you making a mother go through this?
Ever seen this before, Mrs. Bowden?
No. What is it?
It's a bead of some sort. It was found at the scene of the murder.
I don't wear jewellery.
He wasn't suggesting it was yours, Diane. Just if you'd seen it before, that's all.
Oh, I haven't. Wait. I may have seen it before.
Really? Where?
Matt wears beads.
Matt wears beads.
I think I've seen him wearing beads. Yes.
Like this one, here in this bag.
Yes, I think so. Like that one.
Well, many thanks for your time, Mrs. Bowden.
Is that all?
Interview terminated at 3:15.
I can go?
Just wait outside with the others, please, Diane.
Fine, thank you.
So, what have we got so far?
One murdered dentist for a start, stabbed in the chest with a Harley-Davidson style knife, and 7 suspects. Want me to name them?
No, not at the minute. Not at the minute, thank you, Jane. Now, let's just have a wee moment thought about each person who came to surgery today and why they were there. Now, what motive did they have, if any?
What about before today?
Ah, my thoughts exactly. What led them to be being here? You can't really think they all needed a filling, do you?
No. Might be a good idea to start with McCavity.
I wonder just exactly what he was doing prior to this morning.
I could find out. He has a diary in this office.
Oh, good. I'd actually like to go back over a few things.
Have you found those keys yet, Adam? I'm rather concerned about the safe key. It's been missing for over a week now, and the one I've given you is my only spare.
No, Mr. McCafferty, but it crossed my mind that Matt might have borrowed them.
Look, I know you're not too keen on Matt, but even though he's sometimes late, he's reliable in the surgery.
Yeah, you do know he has to borrow money because of his debts. And there's quite a lot of money in drugs in that safe.
I didn't know he was in debt. What's brought this on?
How many receptionists drive a Porsche?
I thought his parents left him a lot of money.
That's what he says.
Adam, being a junior dentist, you don't have much money either, do you?
What are you implying?
So, Adam's mother, what do you think of her?
Well, I wouldn't want her as my mother, but for a mother to kill her son? And in this way? I don't think so.
No, if she did, what would have been the motive?
The only thing is his lifestyle. It just depends how angry she was about that. But it's still unlikely.
You haven't been to church in a long time, love. Why don't you come with me this Sunday?
I've told you, Mum, I'm done with church.
Now, don't go being hasty.
For God's sake, Mum.
Adam!
How many times? This isn't being hasty. I've been saying it for years. I've done with God.
But God isn't done with you, Adam. He will never be done with you. God doesn't give up like a weak man.
God has given up on me. God wants nothing to do with me. God hates what I am, and that's fine, because I'm not too keen on him either.
What do you mean, God loves you, Adam?
I'm gay, Mum. God doesn't love the gay man.
You're not.
You can't even say the word, can you?
That's because it's not you.
Go on, say it.
I will not be made to blaspheme in my own house.
Go on, just say the word. Say it. How can you begin to accept it if you can't even say it?
Accept it? How can you say such a thing of me? This is not my son speaking.
Oh, yes, it is, Mum. This is your son. I am gay.
Shut up! Shut up! How can you make me even listen to those words? How can you torment me like this? Have I not done enough for you? Slave to give you a good, correct life and repay me with this torment?
I'm not doing this to torment you, Mum. This is me.
It is not. Turn to God. Come back to me. He can help you. He will cure you of your sickness.
I'm not sick, Mum. I'm gay.